What first got you excited about blockchains? Think about it. Oh wait. I bet it wasn't multi-million-dollar hacks, exposed data, or finding somewhere safe to store your seed phrase. Was it? Maybe it was the idea of decentralizing a broken financial system. Maybe it was imagining a world where people own their own data and get to sharing the value it creates. Or maybe it was the promise of a fundamentally better way of connecting, communicating, and transacting. The next phase of the internet that empowers us instead of exploiting us. So why hasn't that happened yet? Why are we still living with the same broken system that blockchains promise to fix? It's because blockchains can't keep a secret. Enabling open, transparent systems was only the first half of the challenge. For blockchains to really change the world, they also have to be able to protect our sensitive data when it matters. And that's where we build Midnight, to bring down the final barrier to mass adoption and unlock the full potential of the decentralized web. Let's build the internet we deserve, together.
Ladies and gentlemen, we all know this in crypto. Ownership matters. That's why Cake Wallet. Cake Wallet gives you full control of your digital assets, all in one easy-to-use application. You can store Bitcoin, Litecoin, Zcash, Monero, and many more with just one secure backup. Swap between coins in seconds. No copying addresses, no complicated steps, and even includes Bitcoin Lightning for faster payments. And with Cake Wallet built in, you can use crypto in real life through debit cards or gift cards. Simple, secure, self-custody. Download Cake Wallet and take control of your crypto. What's going on, everybody? It's Monday. And you're still homeless. That's right. Welcome to the breakdown. Come on, man. Work. What's wrong with you, man? Why am I like... Why am I over here, man? I'm trying to slide myself in my hair. Why am I... Be like right here, man. Like right? It should be right here. Anyway, welcome to the breakdown. Okay, episode 711. 711. Not sponsored by 7-Eleven, but 7-Eleven. Shout out to all the sponsors. The main title sponsor, Midnight. Shout out to Midnight. Yes, sir. Shout out to Polymarket. Polymarket is the official prediction market sponsor of the breakdown and the DG brand. Yes, I have. I don't know what's going on with TikTok. I cannot stream through Restream. So I'm trying to figure that out. Also, shout out to the sponsor, Cake Wallet. Shout out to Vic. Shout out to Seth. Shout out to Leah. Shout out to everybody who is working nonstop on that product, because that product is absolutely excellent. Excellent. I've had a lot of people download that wallet. You want to hold your Bitcoin and Monero? You use that wallet. Litecoin, use Cake Wallet. There you go. There you go. Quiet Network is on. Shout out to them. Clipped up some videos. If you want to check that out, you can. It's on the Gokhshtein Clips channel. The handle's at Gokhshtein Clips. You can go ahead and check that out. Okay. All right. Market dumped. Market took a shit. Like the crypto market took a shit. Absolute Diarrhea. Terrible. But well, it's not terrible. Seriously, like if you're sitting back, you got money. Continue to add DCA. That's not financial advice. It's just what I'm fucking doing. You guys saw me in the, I was driving. The weekend I was driving around getting a suntan, man. I don't give a fuck. I don't. I got my place. I'm in. Fuck, I have to worry about. May go away. Fine. I don't really care. I'll come back in September. It don't matter. There's something I'm gonna talk about on this program, which it was. So obviously, a lot of you guys don't go outside, but the great thing about going outside after a workout is that you get to go ahead and think about certain stuff. And I was like, you know what? It's time for me to build out a product that actually allows real communities to shine. I was like, it's finally time for me to do that. Like, I was always looking to build something in this space, and I'm like, okay, what besides the media company and stuff like that, what can I build here that can really help projects be seen? Because it's really hard. Like, it's really hard to gain a platform. 100%. But I know there's a lot of communities out there, strong communities, and they have a hard time being seen. Because you have a cabal in place, who these cabals have friends, and they do their friends favors. And I saw it happen in the last 4 to 5 days. It's not like it's not like it wasn't on my radar before, like I haven't seen it before, but like, obviously I seen it and I was like, you know what? Maybe it's time that I come out with my own shit. And that's what on Sunday, yesterday, after, again, tanning my balls, I was like, listen, let me get to work on this. It's going to be a slow rollout process, but you know what? My name and my brand pushing this, no brainer. You'll get the visibility. And it's me looking at the stuff. It's me. Even if I don't like a project and the people in it, I would still go ahead and allow it to be listed. How about that? No matter how much I might not like it, I will still allow it to be listed. Because I can't put my personal feelings into the motherfucker. But it gotta be fair, right? It got to be fair. So you guys already know what the fuck. If you guys have any sort of IQ, you already know what the fuck I'm talking about. You already know what I sat back the last 18 hours and was building out. So I'm probably going to come out with it today. I am probably going, there's going to be a lot to it. I might just come out with just like, you know what? I'll come out with the beta version. I don't mind. I'll just come out with that. And we'll work through it. But that's what I'm going to do. It bothered me. It really bothered me to see. It bothered me to see some fuckery go down. And I was like, you know what? Fuck it. Let me build my own. Let me build my own platform. And people are like, what are you talking about exactly? You will see. When it comes out, you will understand. Let me build my own shit. Because I know I'll be fair. I'm fair. When I host the spaces, I let anybody come up. This show, I invited anybody to come onto this show. Regardless if I like them or not, let anybody come on here. It makes for good conversation. I don't like this whole gatekeeping situation. And I don't like this whole, don't list them because we don't like them. We're boys, list up. No. No. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Anyway, welcome to the breakdown. Market dumped. We'll talk, and again, we'll touch base on that later. Market, millions wiped out, millions fucking wiped out. Terrible. Terrible if you're trading. Terrible if you're using leverage and you don't know how to use leverage. Terrible. Absolutely disgusting. Trump came out with a picture of himself pressing a nuclear, button. That was amazing. You got Iran, who has come out. I don't know who the fuck's leading Iran to begin with, but they came out with a new program where you pay in Bitcoin to go ahead and run around on the stray. You got Michael Saylor, who bought another like $2 billion worth of fucking Bitcoin. So over 4% owned by Strategy. That is wild. That is wild. But you know what? It is what it is. You could have done the same thing. You could have done the same thing. Absolutely could have done the same thing. We'll have Landy on here for 15 to 20 minutes here to go ahead and break down the markets. Landy is in the back. Let's go ahead and bring him right in. Let's go ahead and chat with him real quick here. Let me go ahead and bring him right on in. Landy, good morning to you. How's it going?
Hey, David. Good morning. It's going well. Much of what we talked about last week with price action in Bitcoin is now coming to fruition. Started over the weekend, and we're getting the follow through to the Monday session for Bitcoin headed down to 76K, which is what I was looking for on any kind of closes below 78. In particular, 78.4 on spot. And we just kind of entered the important zone between the top side of it at 76, but between 74 and $76,000. So, not unexpected. This was kind of in the cards after running that big monthly level at 82.5 to 83 to, work its way back down towards an area of prior support after losing the top side zone. So now it's about how does this zone hold up between 74 and 76? And realistically, if we start seeing 74 dropped, we're probably headed down to 70 to 72 and potentially under to the upper $60,000 region, around 68 to 69. If that does occur, I would start looking at that whole bottom side zone for Bitcoin as being viable for tests of price action. Down to the prior higher low in the weekly at 65, potentially under to test the actual low, 58 to 60. And maybe even more if we end up seeing a leg down. But for right now, it's fine. 74 to 76, nice little tap just a few moments ago. Still keeps the top side open as long as Bitcoin is trading around here. Back to the highs, 80 to that 82.5 region. But if it does start to lose it, then it's going to look like it wants to test down further. But if we do see it bounce back up towards the most recent highs and start to get above, then we can entertain moves to, 85 to 86, 89 to 90, stuff like that. But for the moment now, it's wait and see. There was some really important things that happened the end of last week and then again over the weekend that is causing a risk off move in markets. We had oil pump pretty aggressively. Short-term moves thus far, I think that it could get some follow through further up. But more importantly, something that I think a lot of people might have missed is China's been holding strong with exports of sulfuric acid. And sulfuric acid's an input that affects many different sectors, whether it's agriculture or metals, precious metals, through to, even some areas of the oil sector as well for processing. And, they've been steadily exporting during this entire Middle East conflict. But they finally said, look, we're getting low. We have to discontinue or stop exports for a while. And the United States is a big producer of sulfuric acid as well. Primarily, you'll see this referenced in the agriculture sector. But realistically, much like the United States is a net energy exporter, even though we produce a lot of agricultural inputs, we actually use more than we produce, much like China uses more energy than they produce, even though they are a massive energy producer. They use way more than they produce, so they have to import. The same does occur here in the United States, although we are seeing that we are trending up in terms of production on that side of things. We're going to start feeling the pain from that. Not just, it affects Europe and Asia more at this point than it does the United States, but we are going to see that it's going to have that network effect through the markets and through pricing as things get readjusted higher. So basically the floor gets higher. The same thing that's happening with oil, even though the United States is the world's top producer of oil and natural gas, the floor gets set higher when global prices get set higher. So we're seeing that, after last week, we're also getting inflationary pressures bleeding through to the core metrics for the Fed that they measure to gauge whether or not they want to cut or increase rates or hold them. So a lot of these things are combining to see, into what we're seeing now, and that's just a risk off rotation and a correction in markets. Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies obviously taking a bigger hit than traditional markets right now because the market treats them as more risky assets. So we're seeing a risk rotation within traditional markets at the moment. And I think it's just about where do things land right now. We haven't quite broken structure for the uptrend in traditional markets just yet, but if we do, it's all about where do things bounce from and where they bounce to, and are we shifting trend from an uptrend into a possible downtrend on the daily? At this particular moment, traditional markets have plenty of room to correct to the downside. No harm, no foul when it comes to the uptrending structure on longer term timeframes. But for Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies, it's a little bit more dicey territory, because if we get a more violent correction to the downside, we could potentially see, uptrending structure endangered, as we are seeing that now breakdown in trend on the daily could potentially lead through to a weekly, but I'd still give it a chance here and see how it reacts to these levels.
Okay. To me, can I be honest?
Sure.
I don't give a fuck.
Yeah. Well, there's a
Uh,
lot of people
No,
panicking
I'm
right
just
now.
like, don't give a shit. Like,
Yeah.
what here, there, like, I'm, I don't give a shit because I DCA. I don't care.
Well, what you're
May
seeing
go
now,
whether it's not whether may go away happens or it doesn't. I really don't care either way.
but what
If
you're
anything,
seeing,
if it may go away, I'll go away. I'm gonna go away either way. So like, I'll be swimming naked. I swear to God, I'll be swimming naked, and then I'll look at my fucking phone, or I'll get to my laptop and I'll see what's up, and if it's an interesting play, or if there's an if it's at an interesting level, I'll buy. That's it.
well, we've talked about
There's
this a
nothing
lot.
hard about this.
We've talked about this a lot. Like the timeline is very reactive and hyperbolic, right? And a lot of it is for engagement, but realistically, there are a lot of people going, "Oh, wait, the uptrend ended. Oh no." Like they weren't expecting this. And it's like, well, it's kind of expected when you get a test of a major level for something like Bitcoin and
But for me,
Ethereum
it's
and all
like
the rest.
you can't come onto the timeline and just say like, "Hey, man, like I am." I can't get in at this number. Like, when the the shit goes
Yep.
green. Oh man, I missed it. If it pulls back, I'll get in, right? And when the pullback happens, and this is always the case, I've seen this for years. When the
Yep.
pullback happens, the correction happens, they don't do nothing. It's like, oh
Mhm.
no, 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 it's red. This might look dangerous here to go into the no, 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 no. You can't go back and forth. You got to commit here, man. If you're talking about you're praying for pullbacks and then you get one, then fucking go get it.
Well, yeah, and I mean,
I'm so fucking
corrections
tired of
are
seeing this on the timeline. I'm so tired of hearing the conversations. It's like, bro, either fucking get her and get the fuck out of here, man.
well, corrections are to be cherished, right? And that's something that, bear markets and corrections are to be cherished. And that's where the opportunity lies, right? That's where you have the opportunity to DCA. That's where you have the opportunity to take your time and evaluate and get into the things that you like. I think that most reasonable people in this market understand that, but the timeline and social media and that kind of stuff isn't interested in that. It's interested in narrative shaping and hyperbole and engagement. And realistically, most of the audience here understands that, oh, hey, we're getting a correction. Let's see where it kind of goes, and then let's gauge it from there for the opportunity in the setup. And I think that people want. There's a lot of people I know that want a correction and a really big correction. I know that I wouldn't. I'm not in the camp of let it just rip to the upside and watch it moon, because I'd rather see it come down and people have the opportunity to get positioned, right? I think that that is an opportunity that many pass up because they get scared. They get scared that they might buy and they might see that that P&L number goes red, and therefore red is bad. So they then get scared out of their positions, sell lower, or they actually do go away. And I think that I actually vehemently disagree with, even if it were a sell in May and go away. And you and I've talked about this, that I think we're getting a correction back half of May here, and that's what we're seeing now is the beginnings of that. Is like you don't really want to go away, because that's when the opportunity is presenting itself most clearly. If you go away, you're not going to be there to capture that opportunity and be there. And the people who are here are the same people that later on, when we're all in massive amounts of profit, go, "Oh, you just got lucky." And it's like, no, I was present. And that's really all you have to be, is present and paying attention.
Correct. I agree with you. This is the time where, like, you see the pullbacks. This is the time to go ahead and take advantage of it. I don't get it. Like, I know a lot of people tune in here to listen to Bitcoin chatter, and I know a lot of motherfuckers come here for meme chatter. I'm not
Mhm.
stupid, okay? And a lot of you guys, I'll give you. I see Troll in here, for instance. A lot of you guys saw Troll just rip, but now it's pulled back. So, but you said you want to pull. You If it pulled back, you'd go in. So, what's the hesitation now? No, no. These are just my questions. Obviously, memes are a higher risk asset and stuff like that. But okay,
Mhm.
Bitcoin pulled back. Why aren't you ballsy as you were 2 weeks ago when you said you would jump in? I don't get it.
Yeah.
After all these years, after all these years, you still get fucking scared. See, I'm okay with the new people coming in, like the new people that are just entering this space. I can understand them not understanding and being frightened a little bit to get in when it's red. But for the
Mhm.
motherfuckers that have been here for so long, I'll say this. Here's your opportunity on Bitcoin. Here's the fucking opportunity you have. You know how the boomers bought, and I tweeted about this. The boomers bought houses for 7K, 40K back in the day. Yeah, they fucking bought wonderful property from 7K to 40K. And guess what? Right now, they're selling that shit for like 1.2 million, 2.2 million, 4 million, 5 million, 6 million. That's the same way I look at Bitcoin. You have the opportunity to get in right now. You had multiple opportunities to get in at 5,000, 7,000. But let's talk about the current state. You have an opportunity to get in the 70s. Even if it goes into the 60s, it is what it is, whatever, DCA. But you have an opportunity to get in now before, in the next few years, it launches off into the 500K area, in the $1 million area. Long term. It's long term here.
Well,
You guys
the
are short sighted.
the
And
the
that,
big
like, take all the money that all the money that you guys have thrown out on absolute shit. But let's agree. You guys have thrown out money on zombie tickers, and I will forever call them that. I'm guessing some of you guys threw out at least 10 G's. You imagine if you just took those 10 G's and you put it into Bitcoin? And I know somebody's going to say, yo, hold up. I can get more X's and memes. I get that also. That's one and like 500K of tokens that you will actually participate in one that sends. Can you imagine $10,000 just roll it right into fucking Bitcoin, hold, accumulate enough, and then go play?
You'll have to forgive me for a second because it's going to sound like a shill, but it's not. Michael Saylor. A lot of people, either love or hate him. And something I think that is brewing behind the scenes, and what prevents a lot of people from getting into Bitcoin is the price, the cost getting in and the potential returns when you're getting in at much lower levels and buying sats and, fractions of a Bitcoin. But one of the key things that's happening with Bitcoin, as well, and it's the lead asset, and this is why I bring this up. It's the lead asset for unlocking, you know, self-custodial banking. And there's a project that I've been hooked up with for a long time that I haven't talked about, but I used to wear their badge, and like Hermetica gets mentioned by Michael Saylor. One of the reasons why is they're not the only ones. There's many other companies. People's Reserve is one. They're just doing different things, different market sectors. There's other companies like these guys out there that are all over the place that are allowing for you to earn on your Bitcoin, right? And unlock the liquidity within Bitcoin, right? To use it, right? To without losing it. And that's the difference, right? And it is the preferred asset. I know that you can do things like, go and you can do lending protocols and DeFi and everything else, but the preferred asset that is getting the most traction in the traditional markets and crypto markets is Bitcoin. It's the most liquid asset as well. And when you have a guy like Michael Saylor bringing up companies that are in the sphere of earning, right? Earning interest essentially on your Bitcoin in some manner, or utilizing some sort of non-custodial lending protocols, or in some cases custodial or multi-sig protocols that are on chain, or companies that are now being launched that offer, contract based, obviously multi-sig, but contract based lending and borrowing for Bitcoin. You unlock you actually, what you're seeing is the unlock that we've been waiting for a very long time, to actually become our own bank, right? Because nobody's checking your credit score for this stuff, and anybody in DeFi already knows this. But Bitcoin really is leading the way, and a lot of people don't understand like the way the OTC deals work and how borrowing and lending through paper contracts works outside of on-chain. That's been going on for a long time, and now we're getting the on-chain products and companies that are actually working on this stuff and bringing it to fruition. So you should have some exposure to Bitcoin, and you can still have your Ethereums and your meme coins and everything else, but it's about having a diversity, because it's all the same class. If you're looking at crypto as an asset class, it's all got this generally the same risk profile to the wider onlooker in the traditional markets and the way that they treat it. But within the asset class, there is a hierarchy of what is higher risk and what is lower risk. And you should be, if you're going to be in the same asset class, you should at least be diversified within that asset class. And that's not financial advice. That's just logic. And I think that one of the biggest problems that we see is when we get a bullish market in a nice uptrending market, like we've experienced for the past couple of weeks, right? With a nice uptrend in Bitcoin. And we've seen that follow through with nice uptrends in alts and even memes. Everybody starts to look further and further and further to the upside on their projections. Oh my God, I'm so bullish. The bear market's over. We're going to the moon, that kind of stuff. And then one red candle hits, and now everybody flips, and it's now ultra bearish, and there's no median. Nobody's giving you a median take. I try to do that when conversations with you. You do it as well. You've been asking me a lot of questions about, what my thoughts are on certain things in the market. And it's like, now you go across the timelines at social media and everybody's like, oh my God, it's the worst bear ever. The whole market's going to fall apart. It's all over. And it's like the truth is somewhere in between. And it is the median. And it's like, look, this is an initial pullback. Let's wait to see how much of a pullback we get. And you can gauge the opportunity from there, because you're gonna want is this is gonna move fast in the coming years. You know it, I know it, David. This market is going to move very fast because you're going to get all of these bigger players that want to tokenize everything. They're going to be providing all kinds of liquidity, and they're already setting up and testing things out across various chains. You see all these companies that look tiny right now. They look like minuscule. Oh, why would I get into that? They don't have this amount of TVL or that amount of TVL. This is not a nothing burger. Look at this one over here. No, some of these companies have relationships with big institutional players that want to provide solutions because they know that they can get a ton of money out of this in fees, that want to provide solutions for those of us in this space that actually does fit our value set. Unlike, for a Bitcoiner, unlike going into something like, BlackRock's ETF product, right? For somebody like myself, I'm not holding Bitcoin. That's just a vector for volatility. The AP on the back end gets to do the creation and redemption in Bitcoin. I don't get to redeem my shares for Bitcoin. So that's not something for me. But a lot of these companies understand that. And a lot of people that thinks like, oh, they're the big bad evil corporations are going to come in and steal everything from us. Yeah, maybe if your risk profile is too high and you're too much of a degen and you decide to lever every last bit of your asset, you're going to get it liquidated. But in in this in the upcoming years, we're going to see a lot of non-custodial layer one time lock stuff. We're going to see all kinds of different DeFi. We're going to see all kinds of different ways to earn interest on your Bitcoin. We're going to see a lot of really innovative stuff that's going to happen for Bitcoin that we've seen happen for Ethereum and other products on Solana and many other networks. We're going to continue to see that for Bitcoin, which is going to make those products even better. Right. So for everybody that's like, oh, he's only talking about Bitcoin, stupid Maxi with his stupid crown on. Well, it's going to be everything else too, by virtue of that fact, because everything's going to be tokenized on these networks. You're going to tokenize all this stuff, and you're going to be allowed to stake and restake and get liquid staking tokens. You're going to be allowed to borrow against it. A lot of people in this space don't even know that you can open up a brokerage account and you can borrow against your portfolio. That's your margin. You can borrow. Well, you're going to get the same kind of stuff for your crypto portfolios as well. And in many cases, they know the ethos. If they don't abide by the ethos, they're going to get a large majority of people. It's all going to be custodial, but they're cooking up ways to allow for a happy medium with non-custodial and custodial, and a happy medium that's going to allow us to unlock all this liquidity.
So Bitcoin is king. We know that. Shout out to everybody that's in Bitcoin. Bitcoin's king. We know this. And you just mentioned a bunch of things right now that like just it locks down my point here. Yeah. Memes are the only viable thing within this space that retail can make money on.
I don't agree, but I also agree.
As volatile as it is, memes are the only category within the crypto ecosystem where retail has a chance of making money. And that's true. That's very true.
On the hyper speculative side, they have a chance to make outsized gains versus everything else.
It's the only chance. Like, okay, like you can go into Bitcoin. That's great. A lot of people don't have $80,000 to the name. A lot of people don't have $126,000 to their name. By the time they can accumulate even 0.5, it would take some 15 years. I'm just saying, I'm putting shit out there. Whereas they can take money that they have. I'm not encouraging any of this either. But within this crypto system now, and the ecosystem and the industry, with all the big boys in, and everything that you just talked about, The only shot for retail is in the memes. It really is.
Here's where I disagree. In traditional markets, in just the past 6 months, we've had some stocks that we know are going to be tokenized pump thousands of percent. Thousands. Not hundreds, thousands of percent. And that's what memes are going to have to compete with. When those start to get tokenized on chain, you're going to have to compete with some of these stocks. And these are not no these are stocks that are legitimate companies that are making a lot of money. They have a business. These aren't the penny stocks. These are legitimate companies that have pumped thousands of percent. And memes will have to compete with that. The advantage that memes have is
Culture.
the community and culture that surrounds them.
And you're not going to beat that.
I would agree. There's
The
a
problem,
difference.
Lanny, the problem is like you can't, it is impossible for retail. Retail doesn't want to go through E-Trade and TD Ameritrade, and they don't want to have anything to do with that. There's two type of retails. You got the boomer retail, and then you got the new generation retail, AMC, GameStop type of thing. They're not going on. They might go on Robinhood. Don't get me wrong, and they could play around on Robinhood, where you can go into obviously the traditional markets and you can fuck around in crypto. But for the most part, I feel like retail's only shot. I honestly believe this. I feel now their only shot is here in the memes. I know you'll disagree, but that to me, like I sat back and I looked at it. I was like, the only shot that they have is in memes, unless you want to go the ill conservative approach, which I would probably recommend. You want to go and if they're willing to take the long term approach, put it into Bitcoin.
Well,
That's it. It's just bottom line. Just put it into Bitcoin.
I think that one of the biggest things that is upcoming for like the markets here now is going to be when we do see a structural macro low set for Bitcoin, and then obviously we'll see this starting to develop on all the majors as well. We'll likely see it on the memes. I've maintained that I think that memes will be the beneficiary of Bitcoin setting a macro low. I think that we'll see a lot of excitement with inflows and liquidity to Bitcoin. We'll see memes pop and run with it and likely outrun it by a good margin like it did last time. And then we're going to see the same type of rotation into alts later, much like what we've seen in this past cycle. So there's a big gap in I think projected outcomes for a lot of individuals. And I think that if you're not taking the time to assess risk and what your time frame is for, when you want to get in, then you're just going to miss it and you're going to chase and get wrecked. And that's where retail gets wrecked 99.9% of the time. Is that you
don't read this homeless man's comments. Just keep going. I'm letting him sit here because he has a blue check mark. I'm making money off of him.
Well,
I don't block you. I was sitting back this week and I'm like, verified check marks make you money. You can't block verified check marks. You can go ahead and block somebody who doesn't have a verified check mark, but like don't block verified check marks.
Here's my only response. I do want to respond to this because it's such a stupid take. Anybody in crypto knows that Ethereum did not pass Bitcoin in market cap. Like that is the dumbest take ever. No shit, Sherlock. You should have tuned in earlier when we were talking about how you should buy Bitcoin.
Landy. I was on the space dead tired, 2 hours of sleep, and I said ETH went ahead and surpassed Bitcoin. Just like I've learned now, sarcasm is tough.
Yeah, well,
Uh,
people don't seem to understand jokes and when you're not joking because they don't want to understand that. But
That's why I left the homeless people on Spaces. Like, that's why I don't do them.
well,
Like, now you can see, like, when I'm on here, you can see my face, and whatever I say. You can kind of, like, understand where I'm going with shit, so
um, yeah. Well, the big thing that I think is in moments like this, when the market is pulling back to some areas of support, you're getting kind of um, uh, you're going to see that everyone is going to come out of the woodwork either ultra bullish or ultra bearish. And I think I'm just want to go back and like reiterate that there's a happy medium,
yeah.
right? Um, for Bitcoin, like I said, between 74 and 76, just keep an eye on it. There's
Yeah.
still opportunity to run the most recent highs and potentially higher from here. But if we do start to drop that 74, we're headed down to retest that tighter range down there. For those that are just joining, that would be around 70 to 72 initially, and then you have to pay very close attention to 68 to 69K because if the bears recapture that, we're going to be we're going to be headed down to the mid 60s and potentially even
I
to test that low. And this
I
is where
want
we just
I
talked
want
about this
60
and it's
though. I want
opportunity.
60. I
Well,
want
yeah.
60.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people do, and there's a lot of people that are ultra bearish right now, and they're saying like, they're either ultra bullish and telling you that the macro low is definitely in, even though there is not a lot of data on the charts that actually shows that, and even the fundamental underlying data for the fundamental analysis side of things does not support that thesis at this particular moment. Doesn't mean it can't become a macro low area at 60K, but it's not there yet if it was going to become that. But then you also have people who are on the other side that are like, no, it needs to come down all the way to 25K. And then there's also the opposite side of this is like, nope, you missed it. The lows, the macro lows already in. We're going to be hitting new all-time highs soon. You're going to miss it all and you're going to FOMO at the top. And it's like that's not that neither one of those things are true as it stands right now. And and it's really about like what are you going to be taking advantage of when you see it, right? Do you have the levels picked out on the way down that you are willing to accumulate, whether it be Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, or whatever it might be, or do you not? Are you just talking on the timeline and in chats and expressing an opinion, or are you actually taking action? And there's an awful lot of people in this space that just express opinions and take no action. And those are the ones that usually are being whipsawed by price action. They're bullish when it's green, they're ultra bullish when it's green, they're ultra bearish when it's red. And those of us that have been around this game for a long time, either trading or have been in markets for a while or just crypto for a while. You know how this goes. You
Of
take
course.
advantage of the opportunity when it presents itself. My point about a lot of this stuff is that if you get into Bitcoin, you're going to have a lot of options to become your own bank moving forward. And it's going to be facilitated by a lot of these builders in this space that you see right now that are not readily well known, and you're gonna feel like they're coming out of nowhere, and they're not. They've been here building for a long time, and it's gonna benefit not just Bitcoin, but it's gonna benefit all of the different networks. And my point behind that is that as we do see the quote unquote tokenize everything kind of meta come to fruition, we're gonna see that stuff, you're gonna get preferred companies and assets that are dealing with Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, and all the rest, and we're going to get the hyper speculative side. We're going to see the gulf really widen between those. And it's really about what is your risk profile? Are you trying to make money quickly or are you trying to build slowly and preserve wealth? And a lot of times what we have is market participants here who are trying to hit it big, right? Just trying to hit it big. And that's a high risk profile, right? And then you have people here who are trying to preserve their wealth on those downside moves and then trying to take advantage of utilizing that wealth to create more wealth. And that's really where do you fall in that risk profile is going to determine what you're getting into. And I don't begrudge anybody for getting into, meme coins and not getting into Bitcoin. And I don't begrudge people for staying in Bitcoin and not getting into memes. Everyone's going to have different goals for how they want to set things
It's
up.
just bottom
Problem
line,
is most don't have a goal.
It's just bottom line. You even said this, and we'll go back to that. We were on Spaces months ago, and like memes are a middle finger to who?
Say it again.
Memes are a middle finger to who?
Oh, well, memes were a middle finger to
It's not
the
word.
SEC.
There's still a middle finger to the entire centralized world. All right, let's break it down this way. Memes, meme culture. Forget about tokenizing memes. Meme culture is bigger than anything. Am I right or wrong?
Sure, yeah. I mean, I even sent you a company that does products for the military that seizes on meme culture.
I meme people meme me. I mean, like, people use memes to express themselves. Doesn't have to be on chain. It's just in general, meme culture is real. So I know we're gonna agree to disagree on this topic, but I do feel like that's it. I don't believe there is an opportunity for retail to really make a 20x, a 50x, a 500x by going into anything else out here. You could, technically though, I want to bring up the old coins. You could go into a Cardano, you could go into an XRP, you could go into a Chainlink. Chainlink is undervalued as hell right now. You can go into some of these privacy coins that are popping off, and you could go ahead and get your 10 to 20x. That could happen. But we're coming to a point where that's it. Like there's not a lot of time left to go ahead and capitalize on a lot of these 10, 20, 30, 40, 50x's because the clamps are being put down. And that's because institutions got money and they can do what the fuck they want. That's it. That's why I say memes are the only place where somebody will have some sort of opportunity to hit it. I'm not saying everybody's going to win. It's a higher risk chance to go ahead and get into these fucking plays, but that's how I feel.
My contention is the risk profile that's getting into memes is typically gamblers, right? Which is why you hear this statistic.
I don't believe it. Hold on. So you got to separate the Pump.Fun zombie tokens, that's gambling.
Yeah.
From whether you got however you want to twist this shit right here, but you have real memes that have been around on 4chan forever. And people are using these memes outside and they don't even know they're tokenized. I'm just saying that.
But if you look at the cohorts,
say that again.
Or if you look at the cohorts, more people that are going into memes have no clue what they're doing and are actually gambling than the people who are in memes because
we can say the same thing. We're gambling with Bitcoin, though.
No, it's very different.
No, it's not. Like
no, Bitcoin actually has liquidity. I can't get into some of these memes because they have no liquidity in the liquidity pools. I would literally wreck the entire chart.
Now we went to liquidity. I'm talking about everything in general is gambling.
No, it's not.
It is technically life is a gamble.
No, it's not.
It is.
No.
Nothing's guaranteed. Nothing.
No, nothing. I didn't say it was guaranteed.
Okay, nothing's guaranteed. It's a gamble you're taking on. Bitcoin's ahead of everything. Bitcoin is out of the bubble. I'm just saying, though, everything's a gamble, Landy.
I disagree.
Okay. We'll be right back after this commercial break to disagree some more.
What first got you excited about blockchains? Think about it. Oh, wait. I bet it wasn't multi-million-dollar hacks, exposed data, or finding somewhere safe to store your seed phrase. Was it? Maybe it was the idea of decentralizing a broken financial system. Maybe it was imagining a world where people own their own data and get to sharing the value it creates. Or maybe it was the promise of a fundamentally better way of connecting, communicating, and transacting. The next phase of the internet that empowers us instead of exploiting us. So why hasn't that happened yet? Why are we still living with the same broken system that blockchains promise to fix? It's because blockchains can't keep a secret. Enabling open, transparent systems was only the first half of the challenge. For blockchains to really change the world, they also have to be able to protect our sensitive data when it matters. And that's why we built Midnight, to bring down the final barrier to mass adoption and unlock the full potential of the decentralized web. Let's build the internet we deserve, together.
Ladies and gentlemen, we all know this in crypto. Ownership matters. That's why Cake Wallet. Cake Wallet gives you full control of your digital assets, all in one easy-to-use application. You can store Bitcoin, Litecoin, Zcash, Monero, and many more with just one secure backup. Swap between coins in seconds. No copying addresses, no complicated steps, and even includes Bitcoin Lightning for faster payments. And with Cake Wallet built in, you can use crypto in real life through debit cards or gift cards. Simple, secure, self-custody. Download Cake Wallet and take control of your crypto. We're back. It is 1:03 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Welcome to the Breakdown episode 7-Eleven. No, we're not sponsored by 7-Eleven. Yo, when I said 7-Eleven today, I was dying laughing. We are not sponsored by 7-Eleven, okay? Even though we're sponsored by everybody, we're not sponsored by 7-Eleven, though. We are, though, sponsored by Midnight. Shout out to Midnight. Shout out to Poly Market. Shout out to Cake Wallet. And shout out to, say it, Landy.
Quai Network.
Quai Network. Okay. Shout out to, and we got, shout out to Cash App. I got to give a shout out, big shout out to Cash App as well. Check out the Cash App commercial starring me. That's right. It's cheap to buy Bitcoin on Cash App, by the way. Very cheap.
They have zero fees yet? Yeah, right?
Yeah. It's very cheap to buy Cash App on Bitcoin. I love everything that Jack does, though. Like, he is a true Bitcoiner, bro. I should say Bitcoin Maxi. All right. Moving on to topics. I know, unless you want to go ahead and finish, because I know that you're dying to go ahead and finish.
I would say that the only thing I wanted to say is gambling in markets is not having a plan, not knowing your risk profile and setting the risk parameters. That would be gambling. And in markets, if you are watching the fundamentals, and for people like myself who do technical analysis, you take both the fundamentals and technical side of things for the analysis, you can accurately gauge risk to get you in and out of assets. And then you can categorize things as higher risk or lower risk. And then you can formulate a plan for how you'd like to invest if you're an investor, or trade if you're a trader, or trade and invest if you do both.
Andy, a person who is just getting into crypto, what are they investing into?
Well, I don't know what they're investing into. You know,
Most likely
that's
retail. When they first come into
retail.
this industry,
Yeah.
where are they going?
I would agree with you that typically they're getting in and they're getting into low cap memes, or they're getting into whatever's hot on the most popular apps that are, you know, notifying them that these things are running or things like that. It's not until they get involved in the actual communities do they know what's going on with any of this stuff. So usually they're going in with very high risk, no plan, and they are gambling. It's not until they start getting involved and doing the research, whether it's memes or the rest of cryptocurrency up to Bitcoin. Um, but I would agree with you that yes, memes
Landy,
are the
if
place
you
that they
had
should go to and
$1,000 to your
contribute.
name, even though I tell people if you have $1,000 to your name, you should keep your job. If you have $1,000 to your name and you want to participate in the industry, where are you going?
Oh, me?
Yeah. If you had only $1,000 to your name, where are you going?
I'm trading Bitcoin.
You're not trading Bitcoin with
Yeah,
$1,000.
because I can lever up on any. There's
No.
1,000 exchanges I can lever up on, and I can
Stop it,
trade it.
Liberace. Stop.
No, because
Stop. That's
you're
such
talking to somebody that
bullshit.
knows how to trade. No, it's not bullshit.
No, you're not taking $1,000 and trading Bitcoin. You're not
Yes,
doing that.
because you can go 10x leverage. You got 10K you're trading with, and you can trade a lower term time frame move and make money.
All right. Landy, you're not okay. Okay, all right. Landy, nobody's coming in here. Most people that come in here have absolutely no clue what an RSI is. So, like, you saying that right now is wild.
It's not wild.
And somebody with $1,000 who
You
just
asked
gets
me
in-
what I would do.
Yeah. Okay, Landy,
You
I'm
didn't
saying
ask me what somebody
okay.
with no
You
knowledge
get where
of
I was
markets
going
would
with
do.
this. Okay. You want to play semantics? No problem.
I am playing semantics. You
Yeah,
said,
of course you
Landy,
are.
what would you do? And Landy has 25 years in markets.
Landy,
so
your
I know
ass
exactly
is not
what I
going
do.
to. Nobody's
$1,000.
ass is going into Bitcoin. I can promise you that. With $1,000 to the name, ain't nobody going. They are taking a chance. They're going to take a chance, whether it's in an altcoin that's down, like really down, under a cent or some shit, or they're going into a meme. That's it. They're not going into Bitcoin, nor are they going to play leverage. If they're playing leverage, they're cooked.
Oh, yeah, they're cooked. Oh, yeah. No,
10 out of 10 cooked.
guarantee they're going to get cooked.
100%. So
You know where else they're going to get cooked? Getting into memes.
okay. If they put $1,000 into troll, what happens?
If they just put $1,000 in, they're down today.
Oh, I'm saying long run.
And if they're new,
put $1,000
already
into troll,
sold.
what happens?
And they were exit liquidity.
So wrong, bro. You are so fucking wrong.
Oh, I look, man. You could say that it's not memes, and you could say it was altcoins.
People
And
are
I tell you the
looking for
same thing.
instant gratification, Landy. Like,
Yeah,
they're
and
not-
that's why they suck at this game.
No, but like, hold on. Let's talk about the multimillionaires who have made multiples.
They didn't. They
made
also.
multiples. They have made.
Yeah, you know how many went away because they lost it all?
I'm not. Listen,
Because they suck
they've
at
made
trading.
millions
They
of
suck at
dollars.
market analysis.
on.
They suck at this game in general.
they've made millions of dollars in memes. Okay,
And then lost it
I'm
all
not-
on a meme.
we're not talking about if they can hold the money or not. If they're good with money management.
Oh, okay.
That's not what I'm fucking talking about here.
That
Hold
does change
on.
the dynamic,
There's
doesn't
some
it?
hold on. There are some motherfuckers in Bitcoin that are horrific with money
Oh,
management.
I know. I'm
And they've
not-
lost masses of. How many M's have they
agree.
lost?
I agree. They're usually I call them the bitter Bitcoin crowd.
Okay, I am saying if you think about it, you can make. There have been multi-millionaires that have come out of memes.
Yeah, what percentage of the total people in memes are the ones coming out making
know what?
multiple millions of
I will
dollars?
say that in 2021, you had a lot. I would say now, because and
Yeah.
you can even go 2023.
I would agree. There was a
also.
larger percentage came out very, very, very rich.
In the early stages of this shit. You could go back to 2016 with Dogecoin, but that's not really it.
Yeah.
If you focus on 2021 to 2023, I'm talking about when Shiba hit, and then Pepe hits.
2020 to 2021. Yeah.
People made a lot of money. A lot of people made a lot of money. Now, a lot of money can
Yeah.
mean some people made like 50 grand was a lot of money for somebody.
Mhm.
$500,000 was a lot of money for somebody. A lot of people I know made millions of dollars, millions,
Mhm.
which
Yeah.
they would never have made with Bitcoin, Ethereum. Could have
Mm.
made it with Solana if they would
I
have bought it at
I know
$8.
plenty that have not only made millions during that time frame with Bitcoin, but also um, kept it and have made much, much more sense. It's the difference between it's the risk profile. It's how much of a risk are you trying to take, and do you know what your plan is to actually? Because the problem is most people that get into it that have very little knowledge, they get wrecked, they get scared, they get FOMO, right? And this is just investing, and you could take anything. It doesn't matter if it's Bitcoin or memes. The problem with that I identified, and I've had plenty of battles with you about, especially on Spaces back in the day, was that the the saturation of the amount of memes um, really prevents any kind of one big player seizing the narrative in the market like it used to, because there's just so much competition for that same liquidity pool in that category or that sector, right? So it becomes higher and higher risk, and then you get cabals that are there simply just to extract liquidity from people who are trying to make, their first big hit in the market. And I think that that's my only argument is that that's a very high risk game. It's high risk, high reward, right? Because you can absolutely make life-changing money in the meme coins, right? The problem is the deck is very stacked against you. So if you're entering with very low understanding of where money is flowing to and from, how these particular platforms are launching tokens and how the blockchain works, you're really you have to get deep into it. And by and large, most or the majority aren't going to make money. And you could say the same for people who trade any crypto asset or any asset in general. You could say the same. By and large, if you go in and you don't understand what it is you're doing, you're going to lose, right? I mean, that's a pretty simple statement. I don't think many would
Yeah.
argue with that. But I think it's just about risk profile. I think that you are correct in identifying that you can make far more money in a much shorter period of time in memes if you play the game right. But that requires that you understand a lot. And then there are things, even with understanding how the blockchain works and how to, look at where, who's got what in terms of wallet holdings, understanding the liquidity pools and understanding maybe even the cabals and how they move. You can make all the right, logical decisions and still lose, because it is just a very high risk environment and it moves very, very quickly. So that is my only real point. I don't disagree that you can make far more, far quicker in terms of potential upside, but then again, it's potential with a much higher risk profile and very, very few winners. And it's gotten to be much fewer winners than it used to be because of the volume of tickers that are out there. And yes, there are real memes and real meme tokens and real communities, but most people don't even know that. They're not on X. They're not really looking into the communities forming on TikTok. They're not really paying attention or hitting telegrams or discords to actually figure out what's going on and who's who and who's doing what. Right. So, by and large, the majority are losing in that sense. And I don't care. Honestly, I don't care. You learn, you adjust, and you figure it out, or you don't, and you lose all your money and you give it up to the market. That is not, this is not, it's, I call it a game, but at the end of the day, if you're going to be gambling your rent money on this shit and you didn't do your research and you get wrecked, I don't feel bad for you. But if you come in with a plan of how to take advantage of the moves in the market and the different categories and sectors in the market, you're going to come out the other side a winner. That's my point on that kind of stuff. And that's why I think that there is a higher risk and there is a gambling mentality that is a much larger part of the market than is the people who come in with a structured plan for how to assess risk and how to trade it,
It-
whether they're investing or trading.
the the people that have done business with BlackRock, Morgan Stanley, Merrill Lynch, they could have some sort of plan. The most people don't have access to any of that stuff, nor do they use, or are they clients of the companies that I just mentioned. So they're coming in here like, yo, I'm getting in because my friend got in and they made millions of dollars. That's how they're getting in here.
Yeah. Well, I
And
think
why?
that
Because they have a chance to go ahead and make that money. They don't have that chance to go ahead and make it with Bitcoin.
well, I think there's also a schism that's been forming in the past 5 years um, between those who are here for the ethos of the be your own bank and you know, thumb in the eye of the system, and those who are here to extract, or those who are here to just make money and leave, right? And look, if you're here to make money, right? So I think they're two different conversations, right? If you're here for the ethos to push everything forward in the direction that we want to see things go, then you have to actually dig in, right? And participate, build something, participate in funding something that is actually going to have a long tail. But if you're just here to make money, make money. That means that you also have to take profit, right? And that's something that I you get shamed for taking profit, especially in a lot of the different meme communities. I didn't like that. I didn't really want to participate in it. That's why I told you, like when we had this conversation last time, I said like I watch the communities. I don't participate in the communities because the moment you start taking profit, you're the boogeyman. You're the bad guy. And honestly, the best way to how do the most hardened communities form? Most of them got absolutely destroyed on the charts, and that's how they ended up forming a community. Um, and there you can say whatever the myriad of reasons are, and it was this person, it was that way. At the end of the day, it's a market. You're here to make money, and if you ain't making money, you're losing. So you better come in with a plan on how you're going to make that damn money. And if you really do want to change your life, you shouldn't aspire to be rich. You should aspire to be wealthy. There's a difference. And most are here just to get rich, and that's why they lose it. They're not here to build wealth. And building wealth
Well,
takes
they
an
don't know how to build
understanding.
wealth. They weren't taught how to build wealth. Financial literacy is at
I
all-time
know.
lows.
I know.
Like, so that's why people will come into just, the language is dumbed down when it comes to memes. That's why I'm stuck on memes here. It's dumbed down, Landy.
Yeah.
Because you go into a Bitcoin room or an ETH room, you're not gonna understand what the fuck's happening. You want to start at some sort. I'm talking about real memes. I'm not talking about the tickers. I'm talking about real memes, like real memes. I'm talking about going into a Dogecoin room because half the Dogecoin crowd got into Bitcoin. Literally, I'm telling you, within 3 to 4 weeks, they were in Bitcoin. That's what that's what I'm really talking about. I'm not talking about these high risk gambling type of plays. And there's a few memes out here, like I would say 20 to 30 memes here. I feel like, and you might barf, but they're like blue chip, blue chip fucking assets. Like that's how I feel.
Look, I
Let me ask you a question. You think Luca's building a real company?
I mean, yeah, he's got real product.
Okay, so he has a real product. He has NFTs, right? The Pudgy Penguins. People love him, right? He
He's
has
also got a
products
retail.
in
He has retail products. Yeah.
correct. And then like he came out with Pengu, right? You think Pengu
Mhm.
is going to do great? Because he believes so. He believes he's flipping Dogecoin.
I look,
He was on the show. I'm just repeating what he said.
look, I think that it's going to do well. I wouldn't, and look, when you're the creator of it and you are the one that is they when you're the creator of it and you're in the community, you're going to want to flip the biggest dog in the room. In this case, Dogecoin, right? And that is something to aspire to do. I think that that is part of the problem though, and why a lot of people don't make money in this stuff is because they're holding out for the flippening of whatever it might be, and they keep holding through all of the ups and downs and then never realize that profit. And I don't think that it should matter whether or not they have the capability or would or do flip it. I think it's more about identifying the opportunity when you're in a bear market, when everything's beaten to shit and it's red and nobody wants to touch it, that you go in and you say, I'm willing to take a risk on this by putting my money down here, because then you can actually position yourself to be a potential multimillionaire, right? Regardless of whether or not it flips XYZ token. Who the hell cares? It's about the gain to the upside. So if you identify opportunity and that's the one that you identify opportunity in, then you better have a plan for how you're going to mitigate risk, how you're going to accumulate, and how you're going to take profit, right? And that's it. It's very, very simple when you get down to it. It's just a matter of most don't, they just blindly go into things and just believe. And reality is not just belief. You have to deal with the actual liquidity environment.
I'm very strong on memes. There's a Van Nick, like this guy said, and I always say this: Van Nick, Meme Index. I understand they have products to sell, but they understand memes. They understand meme culture. It's just like I wanted to say about the Solana president, the Solana Foundation president came out and said Solana isn't all about memes, or something like that. I'm like,
Well, it's
embrace
nice
the
to
memes.
say after you built your entire chain on memes.
But the whole thing is like, embrace it. It's okay. Like nobody's gonna. This whole stigma of people looking down on people because of memes is crazy. You got every single person, even if you're in Bitcoin and you never went into a meme, you've memed. You've like memed in real life. So like to put it down is like stupid. I get it. There are stupid fucking tickers that come out, and I understand I understand what people don't like. But there are memes, and like, listen, they're not bothering you, and they're not taking anything away from Bitcoin. Hey, Bitcoin is going to do Bitcoin things. Bitcoin is going to banana republics and all these third world countries. They're going to be buying Bitcoin. America at some point is going to be buying Bitcoin. Everybody's going to be buying Bitcoin. So like, it's not stopping Bitcoin from fucking going to new levels. But memes are an entry point. They are. If done correctly, and if people smarten up and they go into memes which are actually high in market cap, and they're not scared to go ahead and get into it, you'll be in a good position. I used to go into memes at $5 million, $10 million entry points. Now everybody tries to get into 50K fucking memes. That's where you destroy yourselves.
You already know that I have a meme portfolio, right? Like
I get it.
It's just
it's free money for you. I get it.
It's free real estate. But the big thing is, and here's where we are in agreement. I think that I don't have to care about what any of the narratives are. I'm in agreement with you that retail, by and large, not only has, but will get into memes. I'm also in agreement with you that eventually many of them work their way over to the majors, Bitcoin being one of those. So I don't disagree with the opportunity. What I am trying to illustrate is that there's a lot of people here, even now, who don't have a plan to take advantage of things when they actually start to kick off.
That's on
because
them.
and
That's
here's
on
here,
them. If they
well, let
can't,
me,
if they're here and they're unable to go
yeah,
ahead and get value out of any of these fucking, whether it's a podcast, show, YouTube video, if they're unable to get any value out of any of this stuff, they deserve what they, what they get.
I
And that's
agree.
it. I'm
So
not sad for
look,
them.
I'm not crying in Cheerios over these
For
people.
somebody to be early in this space, like you're early now. Like everybody tuned in right now, you're fucking early. Whether you have millions of dollars in fucking Bitcoin or you got fucking $30,000 in fucking some dick in the butt fucking meme, like you are early. You are hella early into the space. So there's no excuse. You're first to market. There's no excuse. Did you miss Bitcoin? No. You didn't miss Bitcoin if it's going to $1 million. I don't want to hear that fucking conversation no more. And yes, Bitcoin's gonna pull back. I saw the comment in here. Oh my God, people got wrecked because okay, I called Bitcoin. I told people to go buy Bitcoin. By the way, in 2006. Well, I was saying it before that, but 2016, let's say, right? Since you can go ahead and look at the tweets, I told people to buy Bitcoin, and the shit ran up to fucking 20K and then retraced. Great, but guess what happened? If people held, it went and passed 20,000, right? Went to 60, what, 68,000. And I was still saying buy Bitcoin, right? And if you bought the top of that and you held on, well, guess what? And you DCA'd, well, we passed that 68, 69 mark, right? We went to 126, 127. Okay, so we pulled back again. Guess what happens next time? If you're still holding, good for you, man. If you're DCAing, even better for you. I love when people say that. People got wrecked on a generational fucking asset. On a generational asset, people got wrecked. Okay.
Yeah. Well, I think a lot of the problem is
On a generational asset that you can use as collateral,
well,
people got wrecked.
when people are new, they say to themselves that they have a plan. And then when things start rolling to the upside, it's always, they start getting FOMO and they go, "Oh no, it could go higher, so I'm going to hold on. It's going to go higher." And then when the red candles start hitting, then they get scared. And the same for the downside. They don't get in because it could go lower. It could keep going lower. So I'll get in at this price and this price, and then they miss it, and then they FOMO in on the next
Yeah.
pump. And that's just not sticking to a plan, because then all of a sudden they have a plan and they start changing that plan, and then they don't actually exercise taking profits. They start getting whipsawed back and forth, and the market chops them right out.
Yeah.
And that happens with whether you're looking at memes or Bitcoin. And I think that, and yeah, let's say it's greed, right? It's greed and apathy, right? And this is where I think that I guess the overarching point here is that while the market is pulling back now, right, to a level that you and I have talked about, at least initially, to 76, um, you really got to, if you're looking and you're like shorter term and you're just trying to make money, um, you're probably looking at these areas and going, okay, what's the trade? Right. Well, if it breaks down further, it's going to, especially below 74, it's probably going to go pretty deep in terms of a correction for Bitcoin. Right. And that, by virtue of that fact, just about everything else in the crypto space. But if you're a trader, you're probably looking more near term for the trade. What's the setup? If you're an investor, though, this entire bearish period has been the opportunity for you to go and evaluate what you want to pick up. And if you're listening to this and you don't have a plan yet, you better start making one, because before you know it, we'll be months down the line, turning around in the market, shifting into bull structure, and it will leave you behind if you're not paying attention now. And I think that that is really the key, is that there's a lot of things that will just go up just because the market's going up. But then there's really good stuff, right? David talked about, he's got blue chip memes that he likes, and he's got, obviously, and this is really what bothers me about a lot of this. I'm a Bitcoiner, so I can't talk about memes and David talks about memes, so he can't talk about Bitcoin kind of conversation.
I
Those are
don't
so
give up.
annoying.
I will run
Those are annoying.
circles. I will really run circles around
Yeah.
anybody when it comes to Bitcoin, and I have proven that on Clubhouse, on Spaces, on fucking Twitter. Go look back. I don't delete shit. Go look back.
But the thing that I want to say about that is like, if you're here,
I
almost
love
all of
memes.
us are
I fucking
involved
love
in this
memes.
stuff.
I
Yeah.
love being in memes. I'm probably autistic. I love memes. Okay? I love memes. I like having fun. You know what it is? You know, when you talk about the same shit over and over every single day, like sometimes you just want to have a good laugh. And you know what? Memes make me feel some sort of way. Okay? Memes make me feel some sort of way. And you know what? By the way, all you fucking Bitcoin maxis and Bitcoiners, I know your little secrets because we've talked. You guys go into memes too, and you buy NFTs, so shut the fuck up. You're lucky that I'm respectful and I don't blow your asses up. And that's fact, too. Okay? Buying Bored Apes and Crypto Punks behind the scenes, right? Buying memes and then obviously selling them off and getting more Bitcoin. Good for you. And all you motherfuckers who are Bitcoin maxis, right? Mining Ethereum. When it was POW. Why would you do such a thing? If it's all Bitcoin and nothing else. Stop. Do me a favor, stop. You know, I believe Adam back if he tells me that he's never done any shit coining. Okay? I believe him. Gavin would say it. I'd believe him.
Yeah.
I'll name now the whole list of. I'll name them all out. I'll believe the original OG cypherpunks that they never touched any of this shit. I'd believe them.
Yeah, those same ones are the same ones that sold their Bitcoin OTC or leveraged it OTC to institutions.
Listen,
so
you know what, Landy? At the end of the day, a lot of these cats, I remember talking to them. They're like, I never even thought it would pass $500. Like,
I'm right there with you. I was very skeptical when I first entered the market.
I asked them, like, did you have full belief? And I'm talking about like people that were there from like, they're like, I was just hoping it would get over 250. And a lot of them were like, yo, I think Eric Vory said, I just didn't want to go back to, I didn't want to go back and work for the like 9 to 5s and shit.
Yep.
Like that was the thing, is like, I don't want to go back to a job. And that's fine. That's totally fine. That's totally fine. There's nothing bad about it.
I was skeptical back in 11. I had to be convinced, and it wasn't until 13 that I really went full in on the Bitcoin ethos, and it wasn't even until 15 that I really got to experience and became I formed my outlook on Bitcoin that I carry to this day. Happening around 15, but it was
Hold on,
like,
can I ask you this question?
What?
Are we gonna call Michael Saylor a shitcoiner now?
I don't believe so. Why?
Right? You wouldn't, because he's making products, right? That what?
Productization. Well, this is the reason why people get on him, is because he's not utilizing the underlying Bitcoin, right? It's
But
not.
he's created products, right?
He's created products based on Bitcoin's volatility. Yeah. So that's where
that earns him. But that earns him more Bitcoin, right?
That itself doesn't earn him more Bitcoin. That allows for more investment to come in to buy Bitcoin, right?
Either way, he created a flywheel, right? With other products, correct?
Yeah. That allows him to buy more Bitcoin. Yes. At the end of it.
Is he a shitcoiner? No.
I could see why people say it, though. I can see why.
No, because they're stupid. That's why people say it, because they're stupid.
Well, they say it
I'm gonna
because
tell you
he's
why they're
using
stupid,
another
Landy.
vector to.
He's in business.
Yes.
Okay? And all these people that talk shit, they've never ran a business, they've never had a business, they've never created a product. So they don't know what the fuck they're talking about. They can sit and yap on spaces all they want, and they can think that they've run some Fortune 500 company in their goddamn basement. But you know what? Michael Saylor is a businessman. You could go back to his tweet about Bitcoin ain't shit. You can go back and show me the New York Post headline about him losing money. Okay, great. Elon also lost money, and he was fucking in bankruptcy while he had SpaceX and Tesla. What now? What? I'd rather bet on people like Saylor and fucking Elon and others that fucking put themselves out there on the line to win. Like it's crazy. We should be championing people that are willing to go all out in their beliefs and shit. Yeah, we fucking try to destroy them. It's crazy. It is absolutely crazy. And I think the people that do it need therapy. I really think they need therapy, or they need to experience working in corporate. Because a lot of these motherfuckers ain't working corporate, okay? They're working fucking Uber or some shit, black taxi, and then they stumbled into Bitcoin because they overheard a conversation in the cab. That's it.
Well,
I'm sorry, Landy.
there's
No,
a lot of.
no. Really, honestly, like it's crazy. You don't have to like Saylor, okay? You can go ahead and question the 4% that strategy holds and all this. You can do all that stuff, right? But at the end of the day, questioning him about building out products that generates him or gives them the ability to buy more Bitcoin is stupid. It is dumb.
I don't really understand the unhinged hatred of what he's doing. See, and this is where it makes me question some of those that are critical of him that are in Bitcoin, because all he's got to do is leverage the underlying asset, right? Like all he's got to do is leverage it, right? And you could see a path where he's just building, where he could potentially just shift it into one of the biggest Bitcoin banks in the world.
Can I ask you this question, Landy? You think Michael Saylor is a stupid man?
Absolutely not. No, I think he's a really, really smart guy.
Do you think he's surrounded by very knowledgeable people? I'm just having this combo.
His
do
team
you
is
think he's
no, his team is really good.
okay? So he's a
got-
smart man.
Yeah.
We can agree he's a smart man, and he's surrounded by a brilliant team, right? We would think, right?
Yes, I would agree with that.
Don't they know don't they have some sort of game plan and vision as to what they're going to do and how they're going to do it, right? And how they're going to execute it? We would think that, right? They didn't go in. It's like
We don't have
the
to
way
think.
I
They
listen
literally
to
tell
people,
us all the time.
when I listen to people in this ecosystem, it's as if they think he went in blind like this. Yeah, let me just press. Yeah. And then, you know what? I listened to this CNBC fucking interview. They try to do an I got you moment on him where this woman from CNBC says, hey, so, let's talk about how people, and I'm paraphrasing here, but how people talk about, strategy being and all these products being like a Ponzi scheme. Did you hear him answer back?
I did not hear his answer back.
He made reference to New York City and real estate and, how they go about their positions with assets on that. And he shut her down.
One of
She had nothing to say.
So for
I don't know why I'm going on this rant. You know why I'm going on this rant? Because I hate the fact that we have people, you know what? Whether you like Michael Saylor or not, he has brought more people to Bitcoin than anybody else. And that's true. He's brought a lot of people into Bitcoin. And a lot of these people don't come out on TV and publish the fact that they got into Bitcoin. Okay? Not everybody comes out here and says, we're in Bitcoin. Okay? Not everybody's like, Saylor and others that come out here and say, look, I bought more Bitcoin. They're not like that. They keep shit private, and that's okay. But he's brought people into Bitcoin. Why would you be mad at a person like that? Why would you be mad at a person because he wants to acquire as much Bitcoin as possible?
Because
Wasn't that the
okay,
goal? Acquire stats. Buy you guys come onto the timeline talking about buy Bitcoin, buy Bitcoin. Well, a guy wants to buy Bitcoin and then you begrudge him. Like what the fuck is that about?
because they don't believe in what he is doing at its core.
But they don't
And they
understand
also
business.
don't believe that he's going to be able to hold that Bitcoin in as an asset. They believe that
Okay.
he's going to have to liquidate it all. Hold on just a moment, because one of the biggest contentions is that it's going to get, they're going to get below a certain MNAV on strategy. They're going to start selling Bitcoin. The board is going to get turned over to new people, and they're going to have to sell Bitcoin to cover um, expenses. Now,
Okay.
I actually vehemently disagree with that, because that would be stupid. Even if that were to occur and they started to sell Bitcoin and there was a changeover in the board, if you're getting in charge and you realize that you have all this Bitcoin and it's actually not directly being leveraged in any manner, all they have to do is partner through the various products and utilize the Bitcoin. And so I don't see there, and this is where with the Bitcoiners that actually disagree with what he's doing is like, okay, well, you can disagree from the risk side of things, but actually come up with a coherent argument that isn't just made up fantasy bullshit. And that's all they do, is make up fantasy bullshit as an attack, because their ethos is, not your keys, not your coin, self custody, which I actually agree with them on that. You should have your own Bitcoin, but I'm not going to begrudge Saylor for what he's doing, because what he's doing is he's positioning his company to have the maximum amount of leverage with the most pristine asset on the planet. So, you wouldn't hear these same types of conversations, or they would be different if it was real estate. Because they're looking at the liquidation of the asset, not the leverage of the asset. And right now, the asset is being leveraged as a vector for volatility to get more Bitcoin that then pays out through Stretch a dividend, right? And their whole contention is that at some point he's going to get below a certain MNAV. He won't be able to meet the debt obligations, and they're going to have to sell Bitcoin, and everything collapses. Therefore, Ponzi. That is not actually what is being built. And that is not, that's not even the proper way to look at it, because in the world of business, if they were going to take over the board and kick him off and try to liquidate the Bitcoin, that would be the stupidest thing they could possibly do to cover there's so many other options to cover the debt obligations. And that could include selling portions, but that you could literally, you have the most pristine asset on the planet, the most in demand cryptocurrency on the planet, Bitcoin. And you're going to look at these other board members and say, no, we're going to liquidate it all. No, that's just not going to happen. It's in there is no world in which that would even make sense. That would be a stupid business move. So even in the most bearish of outcomes and the worst outcomes and the most catastrophic outcomes, at the end of the day, they end up sitting on the board of a company that holds 4% of the Bitcoin supply. You're really going to nuke the market out from under them, or are you going to leverage that asset? You're going to leverage that asset. That is the smartest business move you could make. And honestly, you can see that Saylor is already hinting at this stuff. And I brought up Hermetica because of the Stretch product. That's the reason why they brought it up. He's brought it up now twice. He brought it up in Vegas, and he brought it up just prior to that. And that's not the only types of products. You'll see them likely talking about and referencing other products like the People's Reserves of the world and the other places that are doing the same types of things, and how Bitcoin is being utilized. This is one utilization that is being, the only thing that is being debated is the risk profile. And then getting into ethos of holding Bitcoin. And what the fear is, it's a lot of fear mongering about, oh my God, the most catastrophic scenario for Bitcoin's price action would be Saylor selling MicroStrategy stack or strategy stack of Bitcoin, because it would apply a ton of selling pressure. And it's like, okay, do you really believe in Bitcoin then? Because you think that there would not be a ton of players that would want to come in on those discounts, even if they had to sell.
People
Give
would
me a
swoop
break.
in and buy it. There's plenty of money.
Absolutely.
There's plenty of money to go in and buy anything that he sells. So
And I don't see
and
a scenario where he's gonna have to sell that.
No,
even
but
though
my
they've
whole thing is
referenced
like,
selling it.
if you're scared that he's going to sell, then you're saying that what, there are no buyers waiting on the sidelines for Bitcoin. So then you're shitting on Bitcoin
Yeah, pretty much.
anyway. Landy, as always. Oh, by the way, today's Monday.
Monday.
And 9 p.m.
Yes.
Eastern Standard Time, you go live and you wrap. You talk about the markets with the market update.
Yes, sir. I'll be
And
breaking it down.
we'll be looking forward to that.
Well, I appreciate you, David. Thank you.
I appreciate you, Landy. Always, obviously, this is Landy's show when he talks. I'm just messing around. Landy's a good guy. Give him a follow. We're working to get TikTok back. I don't. TikTok, boy. I'm not doing it off my phone, bro. Like, they're gonna give me access right back the way it was. I'm
Just
not
for
doing
the memes, at least one show, just hold that gimbal flopping around all over the place while doing a TikTok live while you're
Okay.
here on the main show.
Got the whole studio set up, and I gotta go ahead and do it off my phone. That's stupid. That's dumb as hell. I ain't doing that. I'm not fucking doing that.
Well, David, much love. I'll talk to you later. Thank you for having me, sir.
Yeah, I will talk to you later. This time I'll join the meeting on the day of the meeting and not. What an idiot! I'm like sitting there like an idiot, like and I was working out and I rushed out. I was like, let me get.
Yep.
And I'm throwing on a shirt. I don't work out with a shirt. I'm throwing on a shirt and shit. I'm running. I'm fucking waiting. I'm like, yo, like, where's everybody? That's Monday. I'll see you at 4.
All right. Take care, brother.
That's Landy. Much love for Landy. I love Landy. Landy's a good person. He's a good person. Check him out on all them spaces. We'll be right back after this commercial break.
What first got you excited about blockchains? Think about it. Oh, wait. I bet it wasn't multi-million-dollar hacks, exposed data, or finding somewhere safe to store your seed phrase. Was it? Maybe it was the idea of decentralizing a broken financial system. Maybe it was imagining a world where people own their own data and get to sharing the value it creates. Or maybe it was the promise of a fundamentally better way of connecting, communicating, and transacting. The next phase of the internet that empowers us instead of exploiting us. So why hasn't that happened yet? Why are we still living with the same broken system that blockchains promise to fix? It's because blockchains can't keep a secret. Enabling open, transparent systems was only the first half of the challenge. For blockchains to really change the world, they also have to be able to protect our sensitive data when it matters. And that's where we build Midnight, to bring down the final barrier to mass adoption and unlock the full potential of the decentralized web. Let's build the internet we deserve, together.
Ladies and gentlemen, we all know this in crypto. Ownership matters. That's why Cake Wallet. Cake Wallet gives you full control of your digital assets, all in one easy-to-use application. You can store Bitcoin, Litecoin, Zcash, Monero, and many more with just one secure backup. Swap between coins in seconds. No copying addresses, no complicated steps, and even includes Bitcoin Lightning for faster payments. And with Cake Wallet built in, you can use crypto in real life through debit cards or gift cards. Simple, secure, self-custody. Download Cake Wallet and take control of your crypto. Welcome back to the show. I just wanted to retweet this. Wanted to retweet the show, and say that I will be coming out with a product. Multiple products are coming out, but I will be coming out with a product to make it fair. I think it's time to make it fair in this space, because the cabal shit is wild. All this cabal stuff where there are real communities out here trying to get attention, and they're not giving attention because somebody's friends with somebody, and a real community gets pushed out of the way. That's done with. And I think this product, it will go ahead and be a game changer. And healthy competition is always good competition, right? Healthy competition is always good competition. I studied the landscape. I've been looking at it for a while. I never thought I would pull the trigger on it, but now I will. After the bullshit and the fuckery that I saw, I was like, you know what? Fuck it. Let me jump in here. And let me give all these memes, right? Let me give all these memes a chance, kind of thing. Let me give all these memes a chance. And even like, it's even utilities as well. It's not just, memes. So this should be fun. This should be fun to go ahead and watch. That's right. That's right. And some people will say, yo, you copy. No, like this is for... You can't say copycat anything. Everybody can build a car. There's a Honda, there's a Toyota, there's a Ferrari, Lamborghini. Everybody can come into the industry and build a vehicle, okay? In this case, a product. And that's what I've done. So we shall see. We shall see. Maybe it does some good. Maybe it does some good for the memes. I like that. Maybe it does some good for the memes. Some recognition as... That's right. Anyway, it is 1:53 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It is 80 degrees out here. So right after these two conference calls. By the way, shout out to Polymarket. We saw all the ads from Midnight. We saw them from Cake Wallet, Quad Network. Polymarket is the official prediction market sponsor of the DG brand, and for this show, The Breakdown. Thank you very much for everybody who tunes into the show. I appreciate you, motherfuckers. I really do. I really appreciate everybody who tunes in. I really do. Let's go to the quote of the day. Hopefully you get something out of this. I hope you motherfuckers get something out of this. All right. Let's see. Meme of the day. Not meme. What the fuck am I talking about? I like this one. Okay. It's from The Art of War. Be calm enough to avoid war and be prepared enough to finish it. Okay. Again, be calm enough to avoid a war and prepared enough to finish it. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in to The Breakdown, episode 711. I do not work for 7-Eleven. We are not sponsored by 7-Eleven. But if you're feeling thirsty and you need a sandwich, you can go hit up 7-Eleven. There you go, 7-Eleven. I give you a free shout out. I'll be back here tomorrow, episode 712. We'll have guests on this week. On that note, guys, have a wonderful day, and then even better tomorrow. Shout out to my boy Akil Patterson.